What you see nowadays is a little bit a combination of funds and a shipowner. A fund to hold 30-40% of the vessel and the rest to belong to the shipowner. Everyone is talking about Greece, about this specific topic, where here is exactly the same for everything. We only have the 25% of the global fleet. Yeah. Yes. Okay. What is the reason that we have this fleet? What is the reason that we have managed to be the best of the best in shipping industry?
This episode is sponsored by the Shipping and Commodity Academy. If you want to gain knowledge in the shipping and commodity industry, earn a certification, and boost your career, go visit shippingandcommodityacademy.com, link in the description. Welcome everyone to a new podcast episode. Today we're joined by Vasilis Economopoulos. Welcome, Vasilis. It's a pleasure to having you today. You are head of tanker chartering and management at Emirates Shipping LLC.
Correct.
Can you quickly introduce yourself, please?
Thank you for your introduction and thank you first of all for your time here. I'm a typical Greek, let's call it like that in shipping, is what we do the best. So, I'm working with Emirates Shipping as a chartering manager. As you already said, we're handling and we own tankers. It's a local company, one of the oldest, with a fleet. In the past, it was on about 32 vessels.
So thank you for your introduction. Can you explain step by step as an owner the chartering process?
Okay, so as you already know, first of all, you're a broker.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, and as I have seen, you have done already from all the other parties interviews. You have, for example, that we would have with George, we have with other ship brokers. So this is a chain. You have the ship owner, you have the broker, and you have the cargo owner.
Are you working sometimes with broker? For you, is it something as an owner, can you go directly to charter or you always need an intermediate part?
It exists some of the owners, and it always depends on the deal. But personally, I prefer to have someone in the middle.
Okay, perfect. And can you explain a little bit the selection of the charter? We know that we have different charter. We have the major one and the small one. Can you just elaborate on it?
Exactly. As you said, you have all the old majors like Shell, BP, ADNOC, Aramco, all the big names that are outside in the market. And then you have the secondary market, which is not chaotic. You have some names that are really good and the rest that is on the market. Always you take a risk. However, when you're working with the big names, let's say that you don't have any history. The other markets, you have to take some steps as a consideration for your own safety.
Okay, quite clear. Thank you. On the term of, for example, if I am a small charter and I want to make business review, I want to ship my cargoes to from point A to point B, what are you going to ask me?
If this is going to perform, this is the most important. This is the question. If this cargo is going to perform, first of all, when you're going to fix the vessel, if you have the amount of money that it means for the vessel, if it is time charter or a spot in the spot market, if it is just for a voyage, if you're able to pay this amount of money. If it is for a time charter, for example, if it is for 6 months or a year, I would say for the no-name charterer, he would need to give a guarantee. This can be the first 3 months.
Okay, quite clear. Thank you. And now in terms of letter of credit, can you explain a little bit the importance of it? Because it's a question you always ask me about the letter of credit.
How you can know that your customer has this amount of money? Usually bank to bank. From their side to our side to our bank. Not a letter of credit, not the letter of credit can be translated with LC. it is a very safe way, but also with the proof of funds named directly to your company. This is a transaction that's happening through SWIFT and if I remember well, it's called MT 711, which is the most safe, and MT 199, if I remember correct, the names. And it is a transaction back to back, and your bank is coming back to you to inform you that this customer has the availability of this amount of money.
Okay, thank you, Becky. Now I want to ask you a question about the negotiation process. So we have different steps. If I have the cargo, as a broker, I have the cargo, your ship is open. What is the first step? Laker.
Exactly. Laken. So, am I able to reach the Laken? First of all. Secondly, what it is the lay time, how many hours the charterer needs to load the cargo. And then you have all the rest of conditions which are very important for the spot market we're talking right now, for the freight. If we're talking for TC, then it's a little bit different. So ETC, we're talking about the rate that it is daily rate.
I think there's something else very important, the cargo. If you have a clean cargo, if you have to switch from dirty to, I mean, there is so many aspects of it.
Yes. You have first of all a vessel that it is CBP, which is the clean product. It's very important to see what it is a cargo, specification of the cargo. If you have load gasoline and you go to load naphtha, it needs a process to clean your tanks. It's very important in order not to have any kind of contamination and end up with claims. Exactly the same is with DBP, a little bit different, with the meaning you have to go back to your technical and see if your vessel is capable to lift this cargo. What is the viscosity, what humps you have, where are you gonna discharge the cargo, what speed it needs the pumps to be in order to discharge this cargo. For example, in Fujairah, you have to be more than 2,500. So you need to be able, when you go to this port, to discharge the cargo this specifically.
Okay, clear. Thank you. And then, of course, after we have the rates, we need to agree on the rates. So what type of rates do we have in the tanker market?
What kind of rates?
I mean, world scale. You have the TCE. We have the...
So, this is again a little bit common, let's say like that, because the world scale that everyone's following this thing. Yeah. The most important and the most profitable for our owner is to know when we come and request a vessel, what it is in the market open at this moment. If you need the vessel prompt prompt means right now, you will be able to tender NOR in the next 6 hours. We can go to the port and immediately lift the cargo. So we need to know what is the availability. If you are the only one available, the only vessel available, then, as you can understand, you can ask for something more.
Okay. Very safe. And do you choose the world scale? Is it very accurate, world scale, or because they take into account many, like the port codes, the DA, everything, but scale change, of course, a little.
It can add a little bit of value, because always in these cases it's playing role decades of the vessel, plus the rating of the company. It has a lot of things.
Okay. Thank you. Now I want to ask you, so the rate is very important. Another very important when we negotiate on the fixed cargo, this is the clauses. Can you maybe explain the most important one?
You have the charter party clauses, which can be the sell voyage. It can be the ASPA tank, which is for crude, and for all the rest of the CPP, which is BP or the Aramco clauses. You have all this, and then you have the term and conditions. Yeah. And your rig. Yeah. Which are the rules.
Correct. Yeah.
For a company, in this these small letters, to be honest, is where you can have your biggest profit or losses. One of the terms, for example, is the speed of the vessel. Specifically, what the vessel is under TC.
Yeah.
So if you don't maintain a specific speed, let's say 12 or 14 knots, then you will have a claim. This is the most common.
Now, let's talk more general about the trading routes.
That's huge. Yeah. Okay, you have the crude, first of all, where you're going through refineries. And then you have from the refineries all the clean products that they come out. So the routes are a little bit common. You have the refineries in states that they produce all the clean products, like gasoline to Europe. You have from this area, from Middle East, the crude that is going to China. The typical routes, let's say Middle East, China, from the States, that is the clean products, they're going to Europe. Then they have South America, similar, but they have crude, some countries that they go to the States.
Okay. Now I want to ask you more owner still, because this podcast is about ship owner, like working for a ship owner. Okay, we have the chartering side. Management side, it's quite important as well. So you have your specific team of technical manager, superintendents. Is it correct?
Yes. First of all, we have to clarify, as an owners, that we have in-house all the departments, let's call it like that. So we are the technical managers, we are operating our vessels, we are tapping the commercial management of the vessel. They have examples of other companies that they can give the specific parts to other big names, such as
The ships.
these ships, exactly, as Scorpion, that they do commercial and technical management of the vessel. You have a lot of this kind. To be honest, you a little bit take up the headache.
Yeah.
From the owner.
Yeah, imagine, because it's your own fleet. So exactly. And when you have your own team, a superintendent team, so they are taking care of.
It has some regulations that they can follow up. First of all, the maintenance of the vessel.
No.
And to be, let's call it, in the same line with the rules that is in the market. If it is with a flag, if it is with the insurance, everything. So they have to follow up the regulations and they have to maintain to these standards the vessels.
Okay, clear. You have as well the crew management aspect. Crewing is huge as the owner. It's very important, the human part.
Huge. And if you remember the last years, especially during COVID, it was the biggest sector. The biggest sector of vessels that they couldn't reach some specific ports because they couldn't do crew changes, and the ports will not accept crew on board more than 12 months.
Yeah.
But none of the ports was accepting to do crew changes. So it was a huge mess. And over there you would see most of the authorities trying to pass the blame or how to be fixed. You have the flag, you have the port authority, you have IMO. All of them, they were trying to pass the responsibility or to the charterer or to the ship owner.
Yeah.
The cost would be part of the ship owner, or the ship owner would pass it to the charterer. It was a huge, huge mess on the name of a human being.
Okay.
It is really tough, their job. They have to go from some people that don't disembark. At that time, they didn't disembark for more than 14 months, even, or 18 months. You had crew that they are remaining on board for a long time. You had you had crew that they couldn't travel. At that time, I was working in a company in Singapore.
Yeah.
And the authorities over there, They were the most strict of all.
I wanted as well to ask you because many people have this dream to become one day ship owner. Do you think is a realistic approach, or being a ship owner? It's nowadays it's too many risks. It can be, it's profitable, but if you're big, not if you're small. What can you say about it?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. You have to take into consideration thousands of things. There are ship owners with 20 vessels that they are, for me, personal opinion, the best in the market. They don't owe 1 cent in the market. They have their profit. They have their vessels. Everything goes smooth as I will say in CPK won't do as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a huge headache to be at. What you see nowadays is a little bit a combination of funds and a ship owner. A fund to hold 30, 40% of the vessel and the rest to belong to the ship owner. Always it is a collaboration between these two. If you want to call the fund a bank, yes, or private funds.
Okay. Let's see. Do you think that, like, because I think we have a big, quite oversupply of ships.
Exactly. But you have also to see what is coming for the next years. What are the orders? 28, 2027, 2028, yes, they're going to be with a lot of vessels. Obviously, we're expecting a lot of vessels. Exactly the same with LNG and LPG.
Oh, LPG strips, a lot of.
Exactly. And the same with that.
It's a rich to be of the.
Now, you see, however, what is the new regulation that they're passing, especially with the decarbonization, that's going to affect most of the owners. And it's something that the green fuel is affecting a lot, the market. So if you take into consideration all this, it's not exactly a lot of vessels in the market available, especially because in Europe, right now, most of these terms, laws, they can pass, so you have to be extra careful with what are you doing in Europe and in the States.
Okay, quite very interesting. I'll do think that few EU, for example, all this regulation, UBTS, is only the EU for you as a being part, or you're mostly in this?
It will come everywhere. It will come everywhere, sooner or later. At the beginning, right now, we have it in Europe and in the States. Yeah, but soon you're going to see in other places starting to be affected with these regulations.
Okay. And for you as an owner, what do you think is the best alternative fuel to?
This is a huge conversation. Right now, the most efficient is LPG.
Yeah, dual ammonia.
Not what I prefer, but what it is more efficient. And what you see from vessels that they have dual perception fuels is the LPG.
On soon ammonia.
Totally another topic. You have even now in Asia that we see electric vessels. Or another conversation is when it's going to happen the nuclear vessels. It's a huge harsh topic. Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's for sure. Or if you want to, as an owner, when you want to expand your fleet, can you explain the process as well? Because it's not about chartering, it's as well about having.
No, this is disaffiliated with the charter. Exactly. The most recent example is a very big name of a Greek ship owner that he does both, let's say, under construction 9 or 10 vessels with one really famous oil major from Brazil. And these vessels, they're gonna operate as supples vessels in Brazil. So it's always a collaboration with your charter.
Okay. When you buy a ship, most of the case you can buy for second hand. You can make new buildings as well. In most of the case you see as in your size. I mean, intermediate or like.
In this part of the region, they are looking mostly to buy second-hand vessels. Now you're looking vessels that they are 15 years old. And you have big name, for example, okay, mentioned the Greeks, where I know really well the market, that they're looking for the new buildings.
That's very interesting to talk about the Greek owning site. It's having you as a Greek person. It is talking about ship owning is perfect.
Two things we do the best. One is shipping, and the other one is
Tourism.
exactly.
So true. But why it has been huge shipping in Greece?
I believe the Greeks know really well how to operate, first of all, the vessel. And this is a combination with the crew. You see, the Greeks are using mostly the rankings on the vessels. The first rankings are mostly Greeks, and the rest are from different countries, but Filipino, Indians, wherever. Now it depends on the rating of the vessel. All the company. Sir, most part.
Okay. No, that's interesting. But what about tax?
This is very complicated issue. Until now, you didn't have any taxes here, and they're not gonna have any taxes here. Everyone is studying about Greece, about this specific topic, where here is exactly the same for everything. We only have the 25% of the global fleet.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What is the reason that we have this fleet? What is the reason that we have managed to be the best of the best in shipping industry? What is the reason that we have the most new building vessels? What is the reason that you have a company like Dynacom with 105 new building orders? What is the reason that you have Maran, for example, with this amount of fleets? It's a little bit different equation. Why is it others trust these partners? Why you have Battery, for example, collaborating with these names? When Bakri owns and operates 60, 90 vessels, some of them in the tanker, some of them in the dry. There are too many reasons. It's not only because of the taxes. Because if it was only because of the taxes, the easiest is, okay, where it is tax-free? UAE. I come here. Where is tax-free? In Singapore. I'm going over there. It's not only these regions.
Okay. No, it's good you say that, because people who always say the tax result. That's why I want you to explain. Yeah, it's not only about tax. Quite clear. Now I want to ask you, before asking you the last question about your advices on personal experience, I want again to ask you another question about ship owning, ship owners. So do you think you specialize on tanker in this company? Do you think an owner, that is the benefit to be specialized, first of all? And secondly, many owners have fleet of different types of vessels.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. This is very similar equation. As I told you before, in this company, he was one of the oldest in UAE. The father managed to have up to 30, a fleet of 30 vessels, and it was different type of vessels, Afra, MR, even some small ones we had of 10,000 deadweight. Mostly, again, you would have seen, I would give an example, the Greeks, that they have a fleet, some companies of 30 tankers and 30 dry vessels, or even containers in some cases. That's depend on the market, I would say. Right now, you see that the market to invest, it is really good on the dry side. So that's the reason you see most of the companies buy dry vessels. It is at the lowest point, and everyone is expecting this to start moving up. Yeah. It will come. You have to consider also the geopolitical facts. We have 2 wars, but they haven't stopped yet. And it's affecting both carriage, and on the dry and on the wet market.
Do you have any anecdotes to share in the shipping industry?
In shipping, you never know what is going to happen. Every day we learn something new. The worst that I experienced was in Singapore, where during COVID, the restrictions for the cruise changes was, I don't know how to explain, not for humans. I've seen cases, one of the vessels, someone died on board, unfortunately, and no any port in the South Asia was accepting the vessel. And it ended up a human being in the freeze for 6 months. When you have another 21 people inside the vessel, and you have a dead body for 6 months in the freeze. Wow. One of the cases. One other case, a Filipino crew was more than 14 months on board, and in Indonesia, when the vessel was departed, had to depart, he was not accepted his disembarkation, and he jumped into the sea. So, I would say I would consider this period of time the worst for the human beings and for the crews.
Yeah, for sure. And especially as an owner, I mean, it's your own people, so.
Exactly. And the mentality that you have is not that you take crew and you're using him for 6 months as a part of his contract and bye-bye. No, you're using a crew and you want this crew to maintain your vessel. You leave, you continue to pay him for the 1 month, for 2 months that he's outside, he has his holidays, and then you want this crew to return to your vessel. This is part of your organization. You want him back to your vessel. You want him to be in a good condition, a good mental condition, good health condition. This is very important.
Okay. Do you want to add something in?
He's a crazy Marty.
Yeah, he's so volatile.
The only thing that I wanted to say that the market's going a little bit crazy nowadays. There are a lot of people that they have nothing to do with the market that they have entered, and they are totally uneducated. They have no any idea. I'm not talking about people that are coming with shipping knowledge or they've been educated in shipping specifically, but they have come people that they were sales, exactly,
hedge fund.
They don't have any idea what is a vessel, what is a time, nothing. What is a cargo, and they create issues later on. It has to maintain a little bit some standards, because at the end of the day, it's quite difficult. These cargoes that they have a lot of difficulties. Someone can die easily in a tanker, and exactly the same even from the gases and a dry from the wheat.
Yeah.
So the market have to maintain the standards, because we're talking about fuel lives.
Thank you, Vasilis, for this episode. It was a pleasure to have you.
It was really nice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I wish you all the best. Bye.